If I had a nickel for every time someone with a penis said to me, my partner's pleasure is the most important thing, I just want to make sure they feel good, I would be so freaking wealthy. And listen, I know it sounds noble and generous and sweet, selfless even on the surface. But here's the thing, a lot of the time, what's really being said is, I need to make sure they get off so I can feel like I'm good at sex. I need their orgasm because I don't know how to feel valid without it. I need to prove that they finished first because otherwise, it might mean that I'm bad in bed and my ego just cannot handle that. Now, I'm not saying every man, every woman, every person, but a lot of people, especially those who have been socialized to tie their worth to performing and providing, that carries into the bedroom. And in bed, it definitely shows up as performance. It's not generosity, it's just another way to make sex about yourself. This episode is not about bashing people with penises. I am just naming something that shows up often in real life because this is sex in real life, so I'm keeping it real. So the ego is really great at disguising things. So this kind of behavior can look like rushing through foreplay just to get to the main event because the only thing that matters is penetration and orgasm. It can also look like anxiously asking, "Did you come? Did you come?" Not because they were tuned in, but because they need the gold star. It can even look like insisting on the orgasm, which in a twisted way sounds a little bit generous. But if the motivation is, if they don't, I failed, then it's not about the other person at all anyway. It's just a performance. It's just another way of making sex about yourself and dressing it up as generosity. So performance dressed up as generosity is what keeps sex from being good. Just so we're clear about that. If you are performing sex, it will keep sex from being good. Even if it's casual and even if it's not about love, whether it's about love or not, it has nothing to do with it. Even if an orgasm happens, which is an episode for another day, because sometimes orgasms happen even when sex isn't good, just so we're clear. So what's the difference between generosity as a performance and generosity as presence? For one, presence doesn't panic if the other person doesn't come. It doesn't turn someone else's orgasm into a scorecard. Presence is not rehearsed. Presence is about being tuned in to the breath, to the sounds, to body language. It's curiosity, right? Presence says, I'm here with you, however this goes. Don't that sound nice? It is. It's nice. But sometimes sex ends in orgasms. And sometimes it ends in laughter. Sometimes it just ends with being close or falling asleep wrapped around each other. Sometimes it ends in like, okay, that was great, gotta go. All of that is valid. All of that is valid. All of that is great, unless you've tied your worth to the outcome. When generosity is a performance, it says, I need you to feel good so that I can feel like I'm a good lover. But generosity as present says, I want to be with you while you feel whatever you feel. So now I want to add a little bit of nuance in here because I think it's important to acknowledge that sex is not always going to be about intimacy, and that is okay. Sometimes sex is just about feeling good. Sometimes it's a way to relieve stress, it could be about release. It's not always deep. It doesn't always have to be about like some soul connecting, spiritual, meet in the stars intimacy. It doesn't have to be that. But even when it's not about love, even when intimacy does not enter the chat, there is still some level of connection happening. 2 or more people saying yes to a shared experience, even if it's just about bodies feeling good together, it's still real. So if the goal becomes, I need you to get off so I can prove something about myself, that's where nobody gets what they're signing up for, right? Because then what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And so if the goal becomes, I need you to get off so I can prove something about myself, and if that's not what anybody signed up for, then what are we doing? So again, pleasure is valid, release is valid, but performance disguised as generosity, that's what makes sex hollow. Ego-driven performance, it just affects everybody. It's not just about the person who's doing the performing. It also puts pressure on the other partner too, because now their partner feels like they have to make the right noises and have the right responses, maybe even fake it just to protect the other person's ego. So now both people are managing the other person's feelings and performing instead of being present in their body. And I'm sorry, that is the death of good sex. Like, it's not even possible to go there. Good sex should never be about proving anything. It should be about feeling free enough to feel. So the invitation here is not to stop caring about your partner's pleasure, because pleasure matters. Of course it does. This is an invitation to notice the difference between, I want you to feel good because I need you to feel good so I can feel good about me, and I want to be with you while you feel whatever you feel. One is ego and the other is connection. And maybe connection is a brief, casual encounter, or maybe connection is building a life together or continuing a life together. Either way, connection is connection. So the next time you hear, I just want to make sure my partner feels good, or the next time you hear yourself saying that, I just want you to pause and ask, is this really about them or is it about you? And in the next episode, we're going to be exploring how people with vulvas do this too. And that performance of desire, the moans, the faces, all the things, about protecting the other person without actually feeling it is also no bueno. So that's where we're going next. Also going to be spicy. This is Sex IRL, because bodies have feelings. And I'm Stacey Herrera, and I will see you here next week.